His head was inside the shark's mouth, completely inside. Darkness, teeth pressing against his skull, 2 minutes without air. Everyone thought he was dead. But what he did next broke every rule of survival. And this is just one story. Another man spent 28 hours in the open ocean, surrounded by sharks, alone, no boat, no help, just water and predators circling below. If you think you know what it takes to survive, you're about to find out you were wrong. January 22nd, 2007. Southern coast of Australia, a place locals call Eden. Beautiful name. Deadly waters. This is great white shark territory. Eric Nerhus knows this. 41 years old. Professional abalone diver. Been doing this for 15 years. He's pulled thousands of these shellfish from the ocean floor. It's routine. It's his job. It's supposed to be safe. His son Mark works with him on the boat. 20 years old. This is their life. Father and son. The ocean. Every single day. That morning started like any other. Gear check, wetsuit, tank, weight belt. The lead vest Eric wears is heavy, but it protects his chest underwater, keeps him stable, keeps him safe, or so he thinks. Mark stays on the boat. Eric goes under. 50 feet down, murky water, limited visibility. You can't see more than 10, maybe 15 feet ahead. The ocean floor is rocky, dark. Abalone cling to the rocks. Eric collects them one by one, methodical, experienced. He's done this 10,000 times before. Nothing feels different. Nothing feels wrong. But something is watching him. 3 meters long, over 9 feet. A great white shark. Female. Probably hungry. Probably curious. Eric doesn't see her. Can't see her. The water is too dark. She comes from behind. From below. The angle where prey never sees death coming. And then it happens. The impact is unbelievable. Like being hit by a truck underwater. Eric doesn't have time to react. Before his brain can process what's happening, his head is inside the shark's mouth. His entire head, his shoulders, his left arm. All of it disappears into the jaws of this predator. Think about that for a second. Your head, inside a shark. The teeth aren't cutting yet. They're just pressing, holding. His diving mask shatters against his face. His nose breaks instantly, and then he's pulled forward, deeper into the mouth, into the throat. He can't see anything. Total darkness. He describes it later as being trapped in a dark cave. A cave made of teeth and flesh. A cave that's trying to swallow him alive. The smell hits him. Rotting fish. Decay. Death. This is what the inside of a predator smells like. 2 minutes. That's how long Eric Nerhus stays inside this shark's mouth. 2 minutes. In those 2 minutes, his air supply is ripped out. The breathing apparatus falls from his mouth. He's holding his breath, lungs burning, panic rising. His brain is screaming one thing: you're going to die. You're going to die right here, right now, eaten alive, food for fish, gone. But here's the thing about Eric Nerhus. Here's what separates him from everyone else. He doesn't accept it, even with his head in a shark's mouth, even with zero air, even with death literally chewing on his skull. Something in him refuses to quit. His hands are free. Barely. The shark hasn't grabbed them yet. And Eric remembers something. Training. Instinct. Experience. Whatever you want to call it. He reaches up, finds the shark's head, finds the eyes, and he pushes his fingers in. Hard. As hard as he can, right into the eyeballs of a great white shark. Most people freeze in terror. Eric attacks. The shark doesn't like this. Nobody likes fingers in their eyes. Not even apex predators. The jaws open. Just a little. Just enough. Eric pulls himself out. He's free. His breathing apparatus is hanging by his chest. He grabs it, shoves it in his mouth, breathes. The sweetest breath of his entire life. But he's not safe. Not even close. Because when he looks down, the shark is still there. Right below him, massive, circling. Blood is pouring from Eric's wounds. His own blood, clouding the water around him, red mist spreading in every direction. And sharks can smell blood from miles away. This one doesn't need to smell it. She can see it, she can taste it, and she's not done. Eric knows what's coming next. Second attack. This time, she'll go for his legs. Rip them off, drag him down, finish what she started. He's still 50 feet underwater. The surface feels a million miles away. The shark is positioning herself. Eric can see her turning, coming back. He has maybe 5 seconds, maybe less. His diving tool is still in his hand. It's used for prying abalone off rocks. Heavy, metal, not much of a weapon, but it's all he has. The shark charges. Eric swings, hits her on the snout, on the head, anywhere he can reach. It's not a fight. It's desperation. It's a man with a small tool versus a 3-meter killing machine. But somehow, it works. The shark hesitates, turns, and swims away. Just like that. Gone back into the murky water. Eric kicks for the surface, screaming through his regulator. When his head breaks the water, he's yelling. Actually yelling. "Shark! Shark! Help! Shark!" Mark hears his father, turns and sees a massive pool of blood spreading across the ocean surface. Red, deep red. Too much blood. He guns the boat over, reaches down, pulls his father out of the water. And when Eric collapses on the deck, Mark sees the damage. His father's face is mangled. Nose broken, mask shattered into the skin, deep lacerations across his scalp. His left arm is shredded, hanging, barely attached, bones visible. This is the kind of injury that kills people. This is the kind of damage you don't survive. But Eric Nerhus is still conscious, still breathing, still alive. Mark radios for emergency help. Nearest hospital is 45 minutes away, maybe more depending on traffic. Paramedics are dispatched. But 45 minutes is an eternity when someone is bleeding out, when someone is in shock, when someone should already be dead. Mark does everything he can, pressure on wounds, keeping his father awake, talking to him. "Stay with me, Dad. Stay with me. You're going to make it. Just stay awake." And Eric does. Against every medical probability, he stays conscious. The whole ride, the whole 45 minutes. He refuses to let go. At the hospital, doctors are shocked he's alive. The injuries are catastrophic. Skull fractures, massive tissue damage. The left arm requires extensive surgery. Hours and hours of reconstruction, bone grafts, skin grafts, blood transfusions. He should have died in the water. He should have died on the boat. He should have died in the ambulance. But he didn't. 6 months later, Eric Nerhus goes back to diving. Same ocean, same location, same job. People think he's insane. Maybe he is. But he says something that stays with everyone who hears it. "If I don't go back, the fear wins. And I didn't survive that shark just to live in fear." Now here's the question that everybody asks. How is this even possible? How does a human survive 2 minutes inside a shark's mouth? How does someone escape something that evolution designed to kill? Eric isn't the only one, not even close. December 8th, 1963. South Australia. Rodney Fox is 23 years old. He's competing in a spearfishing championship. He's good at it, one of the best. He's underwater hunting for fish when he feels something, like being hit by a freight train. A 5-meter great white shark attacks from below, grabs him around the torso. Rodney feels teeth puncture his body. All his ribs on the left side snap. Every single one. The shark's teeth puncture his lung, puncture his diaphragma. He can feel them inside his chest cavity. But Rodney fights. He punches the shark in the eyes, in the gills, anywhere soft. The shark lets go for a second. Rodney tries to swim up. But the shark isn't finished. She grabs him again, this time by the weight belt around his waist, and she drags him down, deeper, deeper. Rodney is running out of air. His chest is torn open, blood everywhere. He's being dragged to his death. But then something happens. The line attached to his spear float gets tangled. The shark pulls, the line snaps, and Rodney is free. He rockets to the surface. somehow gets pulled into a boat by his diving partner. The damage is unreal. His chest is open. You can see inside his body, see his ribs, see his organs. He needs 462 stitches to put him back together. 462. That's the most severe shark attack injury ever recorded where the victim survived. Doctors say he should be dead. He lost more than half his blood. But Rodney Fox lives. And here's the crazy part. He doesn't hate sharks after this. He doesn't want them killed. He spends the next 60 years becoming a shark conservationist, studies them, protects them, works with researchers around the world. The creature that nearly tore him in half becomes his life's work. A shark tooth is still embedded in his wrist. Been there since 1963. He never had it removed. He says it reminds him that life is precious, that second chances are rare, that fear can be transformed into purpose. But surviving a shark attack is one thing. Surviving the open ocean? That's something else entirely. April 2013. Indian Ocean, Sumatra. Brett Archibald is on a surfing trip with friends. They're on a boat, heading to a remote surf spot. That night, the seas are rough, really rough. Brett gets seasick, violently sick. He goes to the side of the boat to vomit. The boat rocks, hard, and Brett goes over, falls into the ocean, at night, in a storm. Nobody sees it happen. Nobody hears him hit the water. By the time anyone realizes he's missing, the boat is miles away. Brett Archibald is alone, in the middle of the Indian Ocean, at night, with nothing. No life vest, no flotation device, no emergency beacon. Just his board shorts. That's it. He treads water, waits for dawn, hopes someone noticed he's gone. Hours pass. The sun comes up. He's still alone. No boat, no land. Just 360 degrees of empty ocean in every direction. Brett knows the statistics. People don't survive this. Open ocean. No rescue. Hypothermia sets in. Exhaustion, dehydration, sharks, jellyfish. The ocean has 1,000 ways to kill you. But Brett makes a decision. He's not giving up. Not yet. He starts swimming. No destination, just movement. Staying warm, staying alive. 1 hour, 2 hours, 5 hours, 10 hours, still nothing. Just water. The sun burns his skin. His lips crack. His throat swells from salt water. He's so thirsty he can barely swallow. Hour 20. Brett sees something under him. A shadow. A big shadow. The size of a city bus, he says later. It's rising from below, slowly. A reef shark. Maybe 3 meters long, maybe bigger. It's coming up, right beneath him. Brett doesn't move, barely breathes. The shark gets closer. Closer. Close enough that Brett can see its eye. Looking at him. Deciding. Is this food? Is this prey? Is this worth it? Seconds feel like hours. And then the shark turns. Swims away. Just like that. Brett Archibald doesn't know why. Maybe the shark wasn't hungry. Maybe it didn't recognize him as prey. Maybe he just got lucky. Whatever the reason, he's still alive. But the ocean isn't done with him yet. Hour 22. Brett is still in the water. The shark encounter drains whatever mental strength he has left. His body is shutting down, muscles cramping, vision blurring. Dehydration reaches critical levels. His tongue is so swollen he can't close his mouth. Every wave that hits him feels like a hammer. And then he sees them. Jellyfish. Not regular jellyfish. Portuguese man-o'-war. The most venomous jellyfish in these waters. Their tentacles can stretch 10 meters long. One sting causes excruciating pain. Multiple stings can kill you. Brett tries to swim away, but they're everywhere. Floating, drifting, inevitable. The first tentacle wraps around his back. Fire, pure fire across his skin. The venom burns like acid. Brett screams, but no sound comes out. His voice is gone, destroyed by dehydration and exhaustion. Another tentacle hits his shoulder, then his leg. The pain is unbearable, worse than anything he's felt in 22 hours. Worse than the thirst, worse than the fear. He can feel welts rising on his skin, blistering, the venom doing its work. Brett wants to give up, right here, right now. Just let the ocean take him. Stop fighting, stop struggling, just sink. But something keeps him afloat. Maybe muscle memory, maybe stubbornness, maybe the thought of his wife and children, never knowing what happened to him. Hour 26. Seagulls appear. Brett thinks this means land is near. Birds mean land. That's what they taught him. Hope surges through him for the first time in a day. He tries to wave at them, get their attention. Maybe someone will see the birds circling. Maybe rescue is close. But the seagulls don't circle. They dive, straight at his face, pecking, clawing, going for his eyes. Brett realizes too late what's happening. To these birds, he looks dead, or close enough. Floating meat, food. They attack his head, his face. He tries to fight them off, but his arms barely move. One bird gets a chunk of skin from his forehead. Blood runs into his eyes, mixing with salt water, stinging, blinding. This is when Brett Archibald starts hallucinating. His brain is dying from dehydration, shutting down. He sees his family, his wife, standing on the water, walking toward him. He sees his childhood home, his deceased grandmother waving at him, telling him to come with her. He sees boats that aren't there, islands that don't exist, rescue helicopters made of clouds. His mind is creating what his body desperately needs, what it knows won't come. But through the hallucinations, through the pain, through everything, Brett keeps treading water, keeps moving his legs, keeps his head above the surface. 27 hours, 28 hours. Back on the boat, Brett's friends realize he's missing at dawn, 6 hours after he fell. They search the route, radio other boats, contact rescue services. A massive search operation launches. Helicopters, speedboats, commercial vessels. They search a grid pattern, miles and miles of open ocean. The chances of finding someone after this long are essentially zero. Ocean currents move fast. A person could be anywhere, could be dead, probably is dead. But they keep searching, hour after hour. And then, 28 and a half hours after Brett Archibald fell off that boat, a helicopter spots something. A head, bobbing in the water, barely moving. They drop down, pull him out. Brett Archibald is alive. Medics who treat him say he had maybe 1 more hour, maybe less. His core temperature dropped to dangerous levels. Kidney failure was minutes away. His body consumed its own muscle tissue for energy. He lost over 20 pounds in 28 hours. The Portuguese man of war stings covered 30% of his body. The seagull wounds on his face required stitches, but he survived. Later, researchers calculate Brett drifted nearly 30 miles, 48 kilometers. He wasn't swimming to shore. He was swimming to stay alive, moving to generate heat, fighting against every biological instinct that screamed at him to stop, to rest, to let go. So what separates these men from everyone else? What allows one person to survive inside a shark's mouth while another person drowns in calm water? Scientists have studied this. Survival psychology, the will to live. Turns out there's a pattern. Everyone who survives extreme situations does specific things in the first 10 seconds. First, they act. They don't freeze. When Eric Nerhus found himself in that shark's mouth, he didn't wait to be saved. He attacked, stuck his fingers in the shark's eyes, forced it to let go. Most people freeze in terror. Survival experts call it tonic immobility. Your body and brain shut down. You become prey. Eric became a threat. Second thing survivors do is they control their breathing. Panic makes you hyperventilate. Hyperventilation burns oxygen fast, makes you pass out. Brett Archibald spent 28 hours consciously controlling his breath. Slow, steady, conserving energy. When you're in the water with no help coming, every calorie matters, every movement costs energy. Brett didn't thrash, didn't waste motion. He floated when he could, swam only when necessary. This kind of discipline saved his life. Third, survivors find something to anchor them mentally. Eric had his son. He knew Mark was on the boat. Knew Mark would come. That knowledge kept him fighting. Brett had his family, his wife, his kids. He later said he kept imagining their faces, what they'd do if he never came home. That mental anchor pulled him through hours when his body wanted to quit. But here's something most people don't know. The human body is capable of unbelievable things when survival is the only option. Your adrenal system floods you with hormones. Adrenaline, cortisol, norepinephrine. These chemicals override pain, override exhaustion, give you temporary superhuman strength. Eric Nerhus had his nose broken and his arm shredded, but felt almost nothing until he reached the boat. Brett Archibald treaded water for over a day with jellyfish stings covering his body. The pain should have incapacitated him, but his brain shut it down. Survival first, pain later. This is evolution. This is millions of years of human ancestors fighting predators and elements. This hardware is built into all of us. Most people never need it, never access it. But when death is immediate and real, this programming activates. Now let's talk about sharks for a minute, because if you're terrified of them, you should know this. Humans are not on their menu. We're not what they want. Great white sharks evolved to hunt seals, marine mammals, high fat content, fast swimming. Sharks bite humans, mostly out of curiosity or mistaken identity. When a surfer is on a board, from below, they look exactly like a seal. Same silhouette, same movement. The shark bites to test, realizes immediately this isn't food, and usually lets go. Most shark attacks are single bites. The shark tastes human and thinks, wrong species. Eric Nerhus and Rodney Fox both experienced this. The shark bit, realized its mistake, let go. The problem is that even a test bite from a great white causes devastating damage. Here's what you should do if you ever encounter a shark. First, don't splash, don't panic swim. Erratic movement triggers predatory instinct. Sharks hunt injured fish. Splashing looks like injury. Instead, face the shark. Keep eye contact. Predators don't like prey that watches them. They prefer ambush. If the shark approaches, you have options. Go for the eyes, the gills, the snout. These are sensitive areas. A solid punch or jab to the eye will make most sharks retreat. Eric Nerhus proved this. He shoved his fingers into the shark's eyes while inside its mouth. That action saved his life. Sharks have been apex predators for 400 million years. They survived 5 mass extinctions. But they're not invincible. They're cautious. They avoid fights they might lose. If you're bleeding in the water, get out immediately. Sharks can detect 1 part per million of blood. That's 1 drop in an Olympic swimming pool. They follow scent trails for miles. This is why Eric's second encounter was so dangerous. He was surrounded by his own blood. The shark could taste it, could smell it. Every instinct told her to attack again. Only Eric's aggressive defense with the diving tool made her reconsider. Sharks calculate risk versus reward. A prey item that fights back might not be worth the energy, might cause injury. Sharks can't heal easily. An infected wound means death. So they're selective, they're careful. This gives humans a chance. Now here's where these stories get really interesting. What happened to these men after they survived? You'd think trauma this severe would destroy someone. PTSD, anxiety, never going near water again. But the opposite happened. Eric Nerhus returned to diving 6 months after the attack. Same location, same job. His friends thought he lost his mind. His family worried constantly. But Eric said something profound. He said, fear is the real enemy. If he let the shark attack control his life, if he never went back in the water, then the shark won. The trauma won. He refused to give it that power. So he went back. First dive after recovery was terrifying. Every shadow looked like a shark. Every movement triggered panic. But he pushed through. And gradually, the fear faded, became manageable, became just another part of the job. Rodney Fox had a similar transformation. After 462 stitches, after months of recovery, after being told he'd never dive again, he went back. But he didn't just dive. He dedicated his entire life to sharks. He built one of the first underwater shark cages for researchers. He worked with filmmakers, scientists, conservation groups. He helped prove that great white sharks aren't mindless killers. They're intelligent, complex, crucial to ocean ecosystems. The creature that almost killed him became the creature he protected. Rodney Fox is now in his 80s. He still dives, still works with sharks. That tooth embedded in his wrist serves as a permanent reminder. Life is fragile. Second chances are rare. Use them wisely. Brett Archibald wrote a book about his experience. It's called Alone. In interviews, he talks about the 28 hours differently than you'd expect. He doesn't focus on the terror, the pain, the near-death experience. He focuses on gratitude. He says those 28 hours taught him what matters. Stripped away everything superficial, everything meaningless. When you're alone in the ocean, with death circling below, you don't think about work deadlines, money, status, material possessions. You think about people you love, moments you cherish, things you regret not saying. Brett came out of that ocean with clarity most people never achieve. He left his corporate job, became a motivational speaker, travels the world sharing his story. His message is simple: you're stronger than you think. You can survive more than you believe possible. But don't wait for a crisis to discover that strength. There's a psychological phenomenon called post-traumatic growth. Most people know about PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, the negative aftermath of trauma. But research shows some people experience the opposite. They grow from trauma, become stronger, more resilient, more appreciative of life. Eric, Rodney, and Brett all demonstrate this. They didn't just survive, they thrived. They transformed horror into purpose, fear into mission, near death into a celebration of being alive. This doesn't mean the trauma was good. These men still carry scars, physical and mental. But they chose how to respond. They chose growth over collapse, purpose over paralysis. Let me tell you what doctors found when they studied these survivors. Brain scans show permanent changes. The amygdala, your fear center, becomes less reactive. The prefrontal cortex, your decision-making center, shows increased activity. Essentially, surviving extreme trauma rewires your brain. You become better at assessing real danger versus imagined danger. You become calmer under pressure. This isn't just psychological. This is measurable biological change. These men literally have different brains now than before their attacks. Evolution happens in real time when survival demands it. Here's something else. Every single one of these survivors talks about the same moment, the moment they decided to live. For Eric, it was inside the shark's mouth, in total darkness, no air, every logical thought saying he's already dead. But somewhere deeper than logic, a voice said, no, fight, survive. For Brett, it was around hour 15, when hypothermia was setting in, when his body wanted to sleep, when sinking seemed easier than swimming. He heard his daughter's voice in his head, calling for him. That hallucination, real or imagined, pulled him back from the edge. For Rodney, it was seeing sunlight through the water as his diving partner dragged him up, realizing he might actually make it, choosing to hold on just a little longer. That decision, made in a split second, determined everything that followed. You watching this right now probably won't ever face a shark attack, probably won't fall off a boat in the Indian Ocean. The odds are astronomically low, but you will face something. Everyone does. A moment when quitting seems easier than continuing, when fear feels insurmountable, when the safest choice is to give up. These stories exist to show you what's possible when you refuse that choice. Eric Nerhus had every reason to die in that water. Statistical probability said he should have, but he didn't. Brett Archibald should have drowned after 3 hours, should have succumbed to exposure, to dehydration, to exhaustion. But he didn't. Rodney Fox should have bled out before reaching the boat, should have died on the operating table. But he didn't. The ocean is the most hostile environment on Earth for humans. We didn't evolve for it. We have no natural defenses, no gills, no blubber, no sonar. We're slow swimmers, poor divers, easy prey. Yet humans have crossed oceans, explored the deepest trenches, survived impossible situations. Why? Because we adapt, we think, we refuse to accept limitations. A shark has millions of years of evolution, making it a perfect killer. But a human has consciousness, problem solving, the ability to override instinct with intelligence. When Eric jammed his fingers into that shark's eyes, he used a technique he'd heard about, but never practiced. His conscious mind overrode his panic, told him what to do, and it worked. So here's my question for you. When was the last time you did something that scared you? When did you last push past comfort into genuine fear and keep going anyway? Most people live their entire lives avoiding discomfort, avoiding risk, building walls between themselves and anything that might hurt them. These men didn't have that option. The ocean doesn't let you hide. Predators don't negotiate. You either fight or you die. And in that crucible, they discovered what they were made of. You have that same strength, that same survival drive, that same refusal to quit. You just haven't needed it yet. But it's there, waiting, ready. Eric Nerhus still dives, in his 60s now. Still pulls abalone from the ocean floor, still works in shark territory. People ask him if he's afraid. He says yes, every time. Fear never goes away. But courage doesn't mean absence of fear. Courage means acting despite it. Rodney Fox is 83 years old, still advocates for sharks, still dives in cages with great whites, still shows people that understanding beats fear every time. Archibald speaks to thousands of people every year, tells them his story, shows them the scars, proves that the human spirit is unbreakable if you choose to make it so. These aren't superhuman stories. These are human stories. Regular people, regular lives, until the moment the ocean tested them, until a predator chose them, until fate put them in an impossible situation, and they survived because they made one simple choice. Keep going. One more second. One more breath. One more movement. String enough of those seconds together and you get minutes. String enough minutes together and you get hours. String enough hours together and you get rescue. You get survival. You get another chance at life. If you made it this far, you're already different from most people. Most viewers click away after 30 seconds. You stayed. You wanted to know how these stories ended. You wanted to understand what makes someone survive when death is certain. That curiosity, that drive to understand, that's the same thing that kept these men alive. The refusal to accept the obvious outcome. The insistence that there's another way. That's human. That's powerful. That's you. So here's what I want you to do. Think about something you've been afraid to try. Something you've been putting off because it might be hard, might be scary, might expose you to failure or judgment or pain. And ask yourself this question. If Eric Nerhus can fight a shark from inside its mouth, if Archibald can tread water for 28 hours, if Rodney Fox can turn his attacker into his life's work, what's stopping you? What fear are you letting win? What battle are you not fighting because the risk seems too high? Drop your answer in the comments. I want to know what you're going to face after watching this. What fear you're going to challenge. What impossible thing you're going to attempt. And if you think I'm being dramatic, if you think these comparisons aren't fair, tell me that too. Argue with me, disagree, prove me wrong, just engage, just think. Just decide that today is the day you stop letting fear write your story. Hit that like button if these stories changed how you see survival. Subscribe if you want more real stories about real people doing impossible things. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. Someone who's fighting their own battle, who needs proof that humans are capable of more than we think. Because that's what these stories really are. Proof, evidence, undeniable truth that you're stronger than you know. Drop a comment, smash that subscribe button. And remember what Eric said, if you don't face your fear, the fear wins. And you didn't make it through 40 minutes of this video just to let fear win.